I don't know when you last blew bubbles, but when you did, you probably noticed that some of the bubbles clump together to form clusters. And I think this mental picture is a perfect way to think about sentences. Each individual bubble is a part of speech, and when those parts of speech come together correctly, they form sentences. Your job then is just to figure out what each bubble does and how they fit together appropriately. We'll start with these two bubbles because every sentence has to have either a noun or pronoun and a verb. Pronouns and nouns do the exact same thing, which is why they're in the same bubble. They name people, places, and things. Pronouns are just less specific and easier to say than nouns. We use pronouns so that we don't have to say the same noun over and over again. You use pronouns every day. I, you, he, she, it, we, they, me, us, them, and so on. As you can see by looking on the right-hand side, nouns simply give more detail about people, places, and things. There are proper nouns, words like Kevin or Charlotte or Bojangles that need to be capitalized, and common nouns, words like friends, sign, or grass that can be left lowercase. Verbs fall into three categories, but I'm going to explain just two of them to you now. And the first one, the most common, is action. Action verbs are words that show action. As a sample here, I've taken the word baby, which is a common noun, and started to think about all the things a baby can do. Each one of these words is an action verb. And notice that each verb has a tense. Tense means the time at which the verb is happening. So some of these verbs are in the past tense, like walked and talked, and others are in the present, like plays and smiles. Some are happening back then, some are happening right now. The second category of verbs is trickier, but there are far fewer of these verbs than there are action verbs. Now, speaking of action, take a look at these three sentence templates. Do you see any action going on here? The answer should be no, because these are linking verbs, and linking verbs do not show action. Instead, they help to describe the nouns or pronouns they go with. They are called linking verbs because they link details back to people, places, or things. So here, is links tired to Mrs. Martin. There's no action here. Is just helps you understand how Mrs. Martin is. And are can help you understand how you are or who you are. You are human. So, as I said earlier, these two bubbles, representing nouns or pronouns on the one side and verbs on the other, are essential ingredients for a sentence. You have to have one word from either side, at the very least, to have a sentence. And I'm showing you here all the different combinations you can have. Present tense action verb with a pronoun, past tense action verb with a pronoun, past tense action verb with a proper noun, present tense action verb with a proper noun with a linking verb in the present tense, so we need a description word to go after it. Jessica is what? She is kind. How is Jessica? She is asleep. No action here, just description. So again, here are your most important parts of speech, and it is crucial that you understand them if you ever want to be aware what a sentence is really doing. So let's talk about how we can grow sentences beyond pronouns or nouns and verbs. I've added here another bubble on our first bubble, and this is the bubble for adjectives. Adjectives are describing words that tell you more about a noun or pronoun. They tell you things like what kind or how many. So take the noun dog. There are so many lovely descriptive words called adjectives that I can use to describe and tell you more about dog. Smelly, shaggy, friendly. The list really goes on and on. Tell me about the dog's personality. Tell me about its size. Tell me about its color. Tell me how many of them there are. Any word that describes a noun or pronoun is an adjective. And if you notice, the word the is also describing dogs. The is part of a small group within the family of adjectives called articles. And you should memorize those three articles right now. So let's talk about another similar part of speech that describes not pronouns or nouns, that's the adjective's job, but describes instead verbs. Adverbs is their name, and they tell you things like how someone did something or how much they did it. So take the word talked. We can describe talked. He talked fast, or he talked slowly. A lot of adverbs end in ly. He talked excitedly. Any word that describes a verb is an adverb. But here's the cool part. Adjectives can only describe nouns or pronouns, but adverbs can describe three things. They can describe verbs, yes, but they can also describe adjectives or even other adverbs. Let me show you how this works by writing a little sentence up at the top. In this sentence, I will include both an adjective, brown, and an adverb, quickly. And now, let me write in two more adverbs to describe each of those words. Do you see it? How brown is the bear? It's very brown. How quickly did it climb? Quite quickly. And so we have a noun and an action verb, bear climbed. And describing bear, we have an article A and an adjective brown. And that adjective brown is described by an adverb very. And that verb climbed is described by an adverb quickly, which is described by another adverb quite. Like I said, understanding the bubbles or parts of speech helps you understand how sentences work and fit together. Let's apply what we've learned about these bubbles to a couple more sentences. Always start by looking for your noun or pronoun and your verb. Do you see them here? We've got a common noun, meteors, and a past tense action verb, struck. Meteors is described by two adjectives, three and large, but look, there's also an adverb, very, describing that second adjective, large. Feel free to pause here and make sure this is making sense to you. And we'll try one more now up top. Again, always start with the pronoun or noun and the verb. See them here? We've got a common noun, toddlers, and a present tense linking verb, are. Cute is an adjective describing toddlers. The is an article. And look, the linking verb are links another adjective, hungry, back to toddlers. And an adverb, very, tells you how hungry they are. We said earlier that linking verbs help to describe people, places, or things, and they do so by connecting adjectives back to them. So now I've replaced toddlers with two proper nouns, Kara and Corbin. And look, I can make the linking verb past tense instead of present tense. Or I can replace my proper nouns, Kara and Corbin, with two pronouns, she and he. As for the word and several other parts of speech, we'll get to those soon. Thanks for watching.